Dialed in
to Box and Brews, you might hear something
you can use.
like tips on your cash or tips on the suds.
You're gonna want to
The
use
smarts of these stuff.
because they know the
And
brews.
they know the box, and they know they can't help the stubborn fucks.
So listen up, because shit's not funny.
Save yourself some
Beer money. Bucks
and brews.
Bucks and
Bucks
brews.
and brews.
Bucks and brews.
Welcome back to Bucks and Brews. Nick,
David,
it's been a long time.
it hasn't.
Basically 24 hours.
And because our episode came from what we did last night, and we'll get into that. But
did.
first of all, David, what are you drinking?
So I'm drinking something you would love right now. I have a Smirnoff Ice to start. It's a screwdriver.
Oh, that sounds delicious.
It is delicious. And then when I'm done with that, I have a vanilla Java Porter from Atwater, oatmeal cream pie from Pigeon Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And because it's a special, a limited edition, and this is a limited episode for
It
us. I brought back the Busch Light Peach because you can't find it everywhere, and I happen to have a couple left that I saved from last week. And then
it's not bad.
after that, I go to a Busch Light Peach, and after that, I go to
Yeah.
And so I have a few Busch Light Peaches today. I'm really excited.
Good deal.
So,
We have a guest today.
yeah, so we actually met our guest last night
Yep.
at a networking event that we went to, and we had talked before we
Yep.
went to this event. We're kind of, you and I are sitting, we're like, hey, tomorrow's episode, yeah, let's do this networking thing. And then almost near the end of the night, we meet Sara, and just in my head, because I'm like, oh, you never know until you ask, hey, could you make this happen tomorrow? And she's like, yeah, I'd love it. Like, this is what I do. So, Sara, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for bringing an expert in versus David and I's just opinion.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Um,
having me.
Say, please tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and how you actually are the expert versus us.
Okay, well, great. It was a lot of fun to meet you guys last night, and I remember seeing you, and I thought, man, these guys are like very tall and like burly guys. I like, it was almost like this intimidated stature that you want to like go into, like how you kind of just run the room through your head. Like, what do these guys do? Where are they from? And I remember listening to you with a group of ladies that were doing the painting company and just like listening to how you talk about businesses and with kids and the different organizations you partner with was really intriguing. So I definitely had to like figure out a little bit more. So I'm glad to be here tonight. I'm the owner of True Self Consulting, Business Relationship Marketing. And so I started that company about 5 years ago. I started off in social work for 12 years, working with senior citizens, and anyone in that role that's listening knows that that is a very stressful, heartfelt, like you sit at the bedside of a lot of people that don't have family and friends with them. And that takes a pretty emotional toll on you over time. So I was experiencing a lot of headaches, migraines, things like that. I started going to see a chiropractor. I loved what the chiropractor was able to do for my migraines, got rid of them. I referred like everyone I knew to this chiropractor, and a lot of patients started coming into that office, and he asked me, would you like a paid marketing job, like where you could actually get paid for all these referrals that you send in my door? And I told him no. I was like, nope, I'm not a marketing person at all. Eventually I ended up taking the position. No insurance, less pay, no 401k, all the things I lost because of what I believed in is like really getting out there and catching people from another side of something to help them be healthier and maybe keep them out of a nursing home. And so I went with that slant. When I got in the marketing world, I realized a lot of people do connections in marketing really poorly, and that it's very one-sided and it's me, and what can I offer? And I just didn't like that feel. It felt really, really icky to go out there and try to talk to people like that. So I kind of made it my mission of, before I approach anyone or figure it out, I want to figure out how I can support them too and make it very two-sided. And so I started taking on that approach in my marketing to people, and it was warmly welcomed. And I formed a lot of great relationships that way, and partnerships and collaborations, and did a lot of great work, to the point where I said, you know what, I really feel like more people need to know about this. And I developed my own company, and that's what I do. I train teams and business owners, entrepreneurs, and nonprofits how to really get out there and do marketing different.
Good. and say that, when you do it the right way, you can have so much success, right?
Yes.
I don't share this tip, but one of the biggest things that you hit on that I absolutely love is, that's how I buy a lot of real estate is I walk into a transaction of what can I do for you? Not what is
Yeah.
it going to give me? It's what can I do to help you first, right?
Mhm.
Hey, even if I don't buy the real estate, I always like, oh, hey, well, we have a roof. Tell you what, I have a roofer. I have this. I have anything I can do to help you because I know that it'll come back around eventually, right? And when you
Right.
walk into a situation so much not thinking about it as me first,
Mhm.
you'll find that you'll be so much more successful. But
Yeah.
on the other hand, there is a problem with doing it too much. I
Mhm.
had a friend call me out. I go to a bunch of networking events. She's like, man, you always just talk to these new people. You give so much advice. You never ask for something you need. He goes, man, you got to start doing that. I was like, all right, I'll take a look. But so I really appreciate the fact
Yeah.
that you came from that side of things and you're like, hey, what can I,
What can we
don't
do?
like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Going to one, a person that's me. This is what I'm doing. This I'm throwing this. I'm doing this. This is all about me. This is never a good thing.
It's that law of reciprocity, right? What goes around comes around, do unto others. And I feel like when you put those good things out, it's just that law that good things come back. And people really do appreciate and feel that. Like right off out of the gate, they know if you're for the common of everybody's support or for yourself. It's general.
Sure. So let's say we mentioned that we met at a networking event.
Yes.
I know that this is David's wife's second ever event.
Yeah.
Um,
She's held now 2 events at Break Room Therapy
yep.
to just bring in, local business people to kind of just show what they do.
Yeah.
And you came to the first one.
I did.
I was at softball practice.
Yeah.
I came to the tail end and you thought it went well.
Yeah.
Um,
For a first one.
yeah.
Very much so.
and last night, I will start with this. You and I both noticed a glaring
Female presence.
well, yeah, there were no guys. It was me and you.
Well,
And one other guy showed up for like 2 seconds and bailed.
and bailed. Right.
It's
And-
like, oh.
yeah, and it was kind of weird because like we as guys, right, we head nodded because I witnessed him walk through the door. I was like, hey,
Sure.
another guy. And then by the time I was done talking to the person, he had literally there.
Yeah, he was already gone.
He didn't even make it to the rooms that were set up. And I was just like, oh man, what at that moment, what could we have done to change? Well, my wife made a point of like maybe he walked in and seen a bunch of pride stuff all over the place and it's not his thing. And I was
Possibly.
like, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that because that's not how my brain works.
Well, and you and I, we talked about it last night because you throw it out there right away. You're an extrovert. I'm an introvert.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't want to talk to people.
Nope.
Which is why it's great when you're there because you can just talk to them and I can just add in if I need to add shit in.
Yeah.
Right.
Otherwise, I can just stand there and do absolutely nothing because I don't want to talk to people.
Yeah. So
It's shocking that we do a podcast together. Isn't it?
it's
Hey,
So-
that's probably why it works,
It
right?
probably is.
so usually is, yeah. So what do you think of last night's event and what was good, what was bad? What do you think could be changed?
So I was not sure what to expect. And I love that this is her second time doing this. And I love that she did it in her space because it brings people right inside and allows them the opportunity to really get the firsthand opportunity to walk around and see what she does and how that's the best way to do a networking event is in your current space where you can show people exactly what you do and how you do it so that they're instantly intrigued and want to learn more and be a part of the whole scene. So I love the setting. I think I could tell right away that she took a lot of time. She prepared food and beverages. She allowed people the opportunity to register and have a space inside, which is all about someone else, right? Not just about herself with all those little pieces. She was showing people how she put value into them.
Yep.
And I think to the outside person, that shows so much respect just from the get-go. I loved that. So for me personally, networking, I'm an extrovert as well, as you could tell. So I love being around people and spending time with people. But there's a part of networking that's extremely draining. And the part of that is just you're going from one person to the next person to the next person. And you just feel like sometimes there's not time to breathe in between and process. And so that part is always, I really take some time to reflect on every person that I'm talking to, if they're taking the time to reverse and switch the conversation, or if they're just leading the whole conversation. And I think there was a little mix of both in the room. I think you guys probably saw that too. There was people there that it was for them to talk about why they were there and what they were doing, and often didn't ask the other person in the room. Even when we were just walking by and didn't have a booth, we were still there to network, right?
Yep.
But not everyone took the time to say, well, what do you do? Tell me about your stuff, you know?
Yep.
So I think that's a great learning opportunity that can come into play where, you know, you just letting people know, hey, this is a two-sided event. So when you're coming into network, make sure that you're at, like, you know, here's some tips when you're coming into this event to network, make sure you take the time to ask about that other person next to you, you know, those kind of things.
Well,
But I think, oh, go ahead.
no, sorry. And if I can make a point to that. So
Yeah.
the reason why it's kind of important, and what I found is, let's say, so most of my networking events are real estate focused. And so like, there's a lot of times where I walk in and I'm like, man, today, for an example, I just need a plumber. I need a plumber. I need a plumber. And I'm like only focused on trying to find, hey, do you know a plumber? Do you know a plumber? And, but you know, I've probably talked to a bunch of people and it's like, oh man, you're a wholesaler, which is a person that will sell me a house off market, just for people that are listening. And it's like, I've now built this big portfolio. Like I have so many people, because you never know when you can connect the right person with the right person. I used to get made fun of when I worked in Gentex, because I mean, I literally just knew everybody, right? They're like, oh, you know a guy with a bounce house. And I was like, yeah, I have a friend that owns an entertainment company. Like I just know a bunch of people. And they're like, oh, you just know it. And I was like, yeah, I can set up an entire party literally from 3 text messages.
I get the same thing in softball. They're like, you have somebody for everything, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing to
Because
have.
I need somebody for everything.
So that, and you know, so sometimes you forget that you might not need it right now, but you might need it later down the road, right? And so that's why it's good to ask people, what do you do? And
Yes.
you know, hey, you might not need us as a podcast right now because you're not thinking about that, but like then you're getting big and you're like, man, how do I get myself out there? Oh, hey, I met these podcast guys. I wonder if I can reach out to them.
Right.
So
It's 100%. I did not expect to meet you guys there. And just hearing you talk to someone else intrigued me to want to come up and ask you a little bit more later. So it's those different conversations. And I would say, you know, there was the 2 boards, right? When you walk through, the one of how did you feel before you came in to break room therapy, and how did you feel when you left? I think that's a really great way that Dawn could capitalize too, just to follow up with people, is how did you feel before you came in, and how did you feel when you left? Did you feel like you made some great connections? You know, did you feel intimidated and scared or nervous and just like alone when you came in? And did you feel like you made some great friendships and had some great connections when you left the room? Because what that does is it helps people like hold on to that value a little bit more and say, okay, that was purposeful. I need to do more of that. It's just like that reminder of what you just did.
yeah. And you know, I think that would be an awesome, I mean, that's a great little feedback of, hey, like, did I get what I wanted out of this? If not, you know, what can I do?
The girl that brought the salads.
Yeah.
She had said that she doesn't do a lot of that, and you know, she needs to get out and do more of it. And I remember when she was leaving, Dawn asked her, and she's like, yeah, I think it was really good. And Dawn basically said to her, hey, good job getting out of your comfort zone, because I know this is kind of not your wheelhouse, and you were willing to go and do it. And that's a huge step for some people.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, and there's one lady who's a bookkeeper, right? And she's very timid, and it's fine. I'm fine with that. But like, I gave her a great lead, and I know that my people are, I'm just going to say it, they're shitty. They're horrible at follow up but I also know their life and what they're at right now. And I was like, she's like, oh, I put a proposal out and they haven't responded. And I was like, did you follow up? Well, no, I gave them a proposal. And I was like, but did you ask them where they're at? Like, and so I because of who I am, I just was like, hey, hold on, I'm gonna throw a text. Jeremy, where the hell are you with this, man? Dude, like, you know, we're in crunch zone. I'm gonna reach out to her by the end of the month, or you know, the beginning of next month. And I was like, great, awesome. I was like, see, all you had, like, because I lead by example, And I'm like, all you have to do is
Yeah.
make sure you follow up with them, because like Jeremy's good at responding, and I told you Sean's not going to be. And she's like, yeah. And I was like, you're new at this. Like, you need, like, this is where the number one biggest key is follow up. Like,
Yes.
call and follow up like all the time.
It's so much easier
Yeah.
nowadays than it was when I was growing up.
No.
Because you can text somebody, you can email them. It's so non-confrontational.
Yep.
Like
Right.
back in my day, you either showed up at their door or you called them on the phone.
Right.
And I don't make phone calls. So I was screwed.
Yeah. But you know what? You just spoke to something that I think is really important, and I talk about a lot with my side of clients, is that these things are not often taught, and they're just the things that you have to learn through. So when you're learning how to connect and network and build relationships, you kind of have to just follow and look around what other people are doing, unless you really take time to learn. It's not a skill that's taught in school. Nobody spends time on marketing, networking, building relationships 101. It's something that unfortunately people watch people do it, and a lot of people watch people do it the wrong way and then adopt that methodology for their connecting. And it's just this spiral of no, don't do that. Or like you said, it just takes a follow-up. Just think outside the box of what you've always seen and what a human would do. What would you just naturally think to tell someone else to do is, well, did you follow up? But we're we're so stuck in what we think we know sometimes that we just follow those patterns.
Yeah. So this works every time. This is the way I do it. And I don't need to or want to change. And it's always really hard for me when it's a new business owner. And I always consider myself new, and I've been in business for 13 years. There's always people with more knowledge. There's always people that have been there. They've done something different. And so when you're that person, I'm like, look, I'm not going to tell you how to run your business. I'm just going to give you some of the best advice you're ever going to get. You just don't realize it. Right.
Right.
You realize that comes from a coach's mentality.
Very much.
Okay. Because you and I, we both coach.
Yeah.
And we know this works.
Yep.
But maybe whatever you're doing also works.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to make you conform to myself. I'm going to say, hey, what you're doing works. Great. Awesome.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, then you're going to do what I tell you to do.
Yep. And so
that's cool.
Yeah. I really think that'd be a good idea for Dawn to have sticky notes or something that she could put on different boards of hey, this is what I'm here for, and this is what I'm looking for.
Yeah. So. And I think for for the people at that event, it's really about creating that experience, right? It's how can a vendor, if you're at a trade show or an event, how do you show up and in a very short amount of time, how do you connect with someone? How do you build trust with them? How do you promote? How do you all these things that have to happen in such a short time frame for someone to actually want to take next steps and do business with you? Because that's really that assess phase, right? Everyone that walks in the door is assessing the room, they're assessing the environment, they're assessing the vendors, and you have such a short time frame to get them to admit that they want to move forward with you.
Yep. And when you bring that point of, hey, you walk in, you assess the room.
Yeah.
So it's a fact that within 3 seconds of seeing somebody, you're judging them. It's a natural state that happens in your mind. As you said, tall, big, burly guys, I don't know what to expect. So it's one reason why I'm an extrovert, is because I know that people are actually intimidated to come up to me. So I'm gonna come up to you, and I'm gonna show you who I really am. And sometimes it's too much for people, but I say, oh, hey, great. Yeah. Oh man, you're easy to talk to. I mean, I hope so.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, I mean, we talk about that with all our financial stuff too. I mean, outside of the financial world, we are very competitive.
Very.
But when it comes to the financial world, this is the only place where we celebrate everyone's wins.
That's true.
Yeah.
On a softball field, I hate everyone. I want to beat you. We're competing.
Yep.
But if you come to me and say, hey, I just paid off this credit card, I owed $10,000 on it, it only took me 6 months.
Yep.
I am the happiest person in the world, and I didn't do anything.
Yeah, the lady last night.
Yeah, the lady last night talking about her debt, and she's like, yeah, I don't have any debt anymore. And we're like, great.
That's awesome. We're excited for her. And and then we get into the next level of are you doing this? Well, no. Great. This is where this is where we think you need to
Well,
get
and she's
to."
talking about her kids, and we're like,
Yeah.
well, have your kids done this? And she's like, no. Well, they need to do this.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Wins are huge. And when you think about for that event, especially for the vendors or for Dawn, what were those wins? I mean, the wins were pretty simple, especially since there was no fee to participate as a vendor. It was free, first one to register, fill up the slots and it's yours. So the return on investment was easy, right? You just talk to people, make some connections, and you've met some sort of return on investment there with relationships.
Yep.
But when you think of those wins, it's a hard one for people sometimes to overcome the fears of standing there, especially like we talked a little bit last night about overcoming objections.
Yep.
And when you get those questions and those hard things that you have to, again, navigate in a short amount of time and be able to get people into that admit phase. Actually, I mean, the overcoming objections is more of buyer's remorse, right? Like people have to understand the value of something in order to want to buy it. So a great tip for the vendors is to really start understanding the value of what their products are and how to share that value through stories, through the painters had the pictures, they had the demos there. April with her CBD, she had great display. The display is so important to be able to show value in what you have.
It's what we're horrible at.
Yeah.
We bring a sign. We bring a sign. No, we've done we've done one expo thing, and we just brought a backdrop with our banner, and
Yeah, we just put the banner
Just
up,
a
and
couple
now,
stickers.
here it is.
But
A couple stickers. We had
we had
a lot
ton
of
things,
stickers.
but I'm saying
You do have stickers, yeah.
we didn't. We didn't do this whole because we weren't selling anything except for ourselves, right?
Yeah.
We're just
Right.
put this out there.
Hey,
So,
come over here, roll some dice, and you get a free prize.
have some fun, yeah.
Yeah.
No, and so that's that's great. Is when you have a booth, make sure you're utilizing your booth to the full potential.
Yeah, even when it goes as far as swag, I go back to the painting leads because I just love them. I wish I could remember their names off the top of my head, but I already want to work on a project with them just because they were so real with me the whole time I talked to them. But one of the things on their table, they had candy, right? They had this bag of candy, which is completely unrelatable to their company. So, and I told them this, I'm like, I feel like, a great suggestion for some swag would be something that someone's not going to eat and throw away and forget about, but something like a paintbrush or, the painter's tape or something something tangible for your business that they can give them and that they can be remembered by.
Yeah. And
I don't know if I froze.
No, I think that's a great.
We're the painters.
The one was Lisa.
Yes, I wanted
yeah.
to say Lisa. I was like, no,
Yeah.
that's not.
I say, and and that I agree with exactly what you're saying. Hey, give something that's part of your business. We talked about last night doing the soy candles. I don't know if you remember those.
Sure.
Yeah, because my wife did those many years ago.
And I talked to him because I watched a guy on YouTube, and he talked about how he basically ruined the entire thing because what he did was he bought all the wicks for like 13 cents, right? And he'd go and give the wicks for free. He's like, here's a wick. Now you have to go now you have to get a jar, now you have to fill it, and you're going to want to do this. And he goes, you put something
Yes.
cheap into their hands, they're going to want to do this.
Yes.
And
Yep.
it's a huge thing. And I was like, man, I got to learn how to do, because business cards, again, they just go into pockets and
Yeah.
People forget about them.
right. And I don't know if you're going to bring up the point, but like one thing I do horrible at, unless it's usually the first of the year where I'm like, hey, every time I meet somebody, I'm going to take their cards, I'm going to put them in my pocket, and then I'm going to reach out within the next 2 days and email them, go, hey, it was nice meeting you, or text them and go, hey, it was nice meeting you. Send their name, send my name, and what it was that they had. So that way we have communication. And then I usually just fail at it, as the year goes on. Because again, follow-up is huge.
Yes. I will speak to that if that's okay, because I
Absolutely.
feel like that's been something that I've really been wanting to share more and more is I feel like there's so many opportunities for connections, right? So you get business cards, you get postcard mailers, you get opportunities at an event, you get, you know, whether it's indoor, outdoor, you get podcast opportunities. There's not a lack of opportunity out there, and not even a lack of creative, unique opportunities out there to connect and build relationships. So, you know, when I am like talking about 52 connections that or anything like on that, and people are like, well, what's the biggest challenge with connecting or staying connected or making sure you follow up to build those relationships? I don't think that's the problem. I think it's that we're so busy, or we fill our schedule with other things, and we don't make it a point, like we have that great, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take these cards. It's a great intention and like really great heart. Like, I want to do this and I'm going to do this. But then we don't take that next step and like put it on our calendar and set an alarm, or make sure we have those cards laid out for the next morning. And, you know, it's those next steps that we don't do, or we find the time to make time for something else. And that's where the relationships and connections and things falter, is that we had these opportunities and we didn't take the next steps. So, and that's no fault to you, because you have the great intention. It's just that reminder to like, I feel like that's the hardest part. And it's hard for me too. You know, the more connections you make, the more follow through you have to do. Right.
Yep.
So
And there's a time, you know, and you have to figure out, hey, and a lot of time, I don't know what the excuse is. It's just, hey, I'm busy doing something else, or I didn't feel I got any value out of the aspect of things.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not a person of excuses, right? But I will say, hey, there's something in me that said it wasn't worth my time, because
yeah.
I tell people all the time, if it's worth doing, you're gonna go put full effort at it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you know, and you know, if somebody told you, hey, you have to go walk a mile a day for a year and they're gonna hand you $1 million, if you're not a multi-millionaire and that's all you have to do is walk a mile a day, I guarantee you're setting an alarm. That's the first thing you're doing when you get out. You're probably going to be scared to get in a car to get hit, so that way you walk that mile every day, right? Like,
yeah.
And people forget about these types of things, and it's just do it, right? Like, it is the hardest. Sometimes some people it's just so easy, because they're, you know, the actual connecting with them is the hardest part. The following through, they're like, oh, I love to just send an email and text, and you know, hey, I need a personal assistant to do that. Great. If that's what's going to make you successful, then hire that person, right? And that's a whole other topic. That's a whole.
Yeah.
Even when we look at what we do here,
Yeah.
you collect a lot of things.
Very much.
And then do what?
Hand it to you.
Absolutely.
Because I know that you're going to follow through.
Right.
Right. Like, I'm going to ask right on the spot. If she said no, there's a really limited chance that I'm actually going to remember.
Yeah, you're never getting back a hold of her.
Right. If she was like, hey, I can do it in 2 weeks, I'm gonna be like, great, I'm so glad you can do it in 2 weeks. And then she would have to hit me up and go, hey, are we still on for this 2 weeks?
No, you would sit there
totally.
and hand it to me and go, hey, are we gonna have Sarah on in 2 weeks? And I'd be like, yeah, I got it covered. We're good.
Yeah, say, but like, although, you know, and I know that I just won't do that, right? I'm not saying this isn't a priority. It's just,
you need the immediate
yes,
return on investment.
I do it.
And without that, it goes by the wayside, because you just have so much other things going on.
Right. Well, you know, and I'm doing it with a million other people.
It's a survival mechanism too, right? Like, there's that other piece of that that's very survival mode that people, especially right now, when you think about recession readiness and things like that, it's like, what are the most important things I have to do right now? Is it getting back to all these business cards of people that I met at this networking event, or is it this? And it's that priority too, because a lot of us are in a survival mode, especially business owners, right? It's, what do you have to do today to get the most bang for the buck in the day that you have, the 24 hours that you have to do it, and make the most of the connections that you can. So there's that too.
Yeah. And I want to go on my soapbox for 2 seconds. When you say 24 hours a day, right? And this is what I tell people, like, it literally, like, as a business owner, it's 24 hours a day, right? I had to get yelled at by a few people that I shouldn't be sending text messages between the hours of 11 and 3 a.m. Right.
Shit.
But like, when I was working my job, I would I knew I was leaving a voicemail because it was his office phone or whatever. And I'd call my lender on my drive at 2:30 in the morning. I'm like, hey, Rob, it's Nick. I need to have a conversation. So like 8:30, 9 o'clock, I was the first person he's calling. He's like, man, dude, do you ever sleep? And I'm like, no, I try not to. Right. Like, but and these people, I think most business owners and a lot of people that come to networking events, they say that they're doing this, but it's like, are you really? Like, are you holding yourself to a big 12-hour day? Like, or hey, I have a day job, I'm working 9 hours, and then I come home and I'm exhausted, and I put in 30 minutes of work and say I'm working in my business.
Yes.
I'm not trying to be a dick, but are you really? Are you actually giving it the full effort, the full everything? Like, how bad do you want it?
Because you're right. And especially when we talk about connections and networks and relationships, it is not a short-term game. It is a long haul. You don't get like, if you expect to, and you're lucky enough, that can happen where you get immediate results the first time you connect with someone and you send out 5 referrals and you're like best friends for life and you do business and become partners, right? Great. But most of the time it's a process. It takes multiple touches or multiple times to connect with someone to really like get into that circle bubble where you're doing collaboration work, because you have to build trust. And so if you're in it for the short game of it and you're like instant gratification, I'm going to be 9 to 5 and work within my hours. Sometimes it takes working a little bit later so that you can wrap your mind around, what can I do beyond myself and my time in my bubble right now to like reach these people that I need to connect with outside of these hours, because that's when my brain can do it too. And it's just putting in that time and that effort and that desire to want to be in it for the long haul for the relationships.
And you know, it goes back to the excuses of, I got to get to more of these. I got to get to more of these. And so
Yeah.
that brings us to one of the first questions that we have.
Okay.
Say is, if people want to get to more of these and they keep saying it, what's the best way to go about finding networking events?
Yeah, I think one of the very best ways, everyone has a phone nowadays, and most people are on Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram. I use Facebook as a big platform and also LinkedIn, and you can actually just search events in Facebook. So if you do a Facebook event search, you can actually type in what type of event you're looking for. So you can decipher, do you want to attend entrepreneur business types? Do you want to attend arts and crafts? Do you want to attend beer and, you know, drinking, parks, concert type events, whatever that is. So you can kind of narrow down your search, and then you start just scrolling through what's coming up. And what I've done is just start reaching out to the person that is holding the event. So whoever the event coordinator is, I just send them a message and say, hey, I saw your event on Facebook, or I saw it on Eventbrite, I saw it on LinkedIn.
Yep.
This is what I do. I would love to support your mission and what you've been a part of. And I'm wondering if there's any space for something that I do to be able to contribute or partner with that. And so, and kind of, I leave that open. So I don't say I'd love to be a vendor with a table at your event, because that's very direct and maybe they don't need that, but maybe I can fill a different space. Maybe I can volunteer, or maybe I can show up and help in another way, or maybe they need a speaker. And if I don't narrow it down to, I'd love to have a table, maybe they say, wow, well, what you're doing, would you like a breakout session, you know?
Yep.
So I think opportunities are there if you just kind of reach out and say, I'd love to contribute to what you're doing. And is there a space for what I have to offer to be a part of that with you? That's where I had found, and I would schedule events probably 5 days a week. When I was doing a lot of events consistently, I was doing them 5 days out of 7 usually, and a lot of them were on the weekends. So I would say if you're a person that wants to participate in a lot of events, you might want to get used to the idea of working some weekends for a little bit, because a lot of them happen evenings and weekends, depending on the season too. A season's affect when events happen. I would put on your own platforms that you're searching for events. Like, I'd love to participate in new events. I'm hoping to grow my business this way. If anyone knows of any suggestions or opportunities out there, please, you know, send me a message, let me know. I'd be grateful. And just kind of put that ask right out there. I would, any part of groups that you're a part of, if you're a part of groups, I would ask if they know of any events coming up, or I would host your own, like Dawn did, and just open up your space and say, hey, I'd love to have a small group come out and visit and network. So those would be another great way. Is if you're a vendor and you go to events, I would start taking some cards with you and not have them like in your hand, like you're like, you know, spread them out on the table, right? But just have them in your back pocket and start going to events and saying, how did you hear about this event? And start asking people and how many years have you participated here? And what do you like most about this event? And kind of get a feel for how much did this event cost you to participate in? Is there a lot of traffic? Did you get a pretty good return on investment? Things like that. If they've been coming year after year, I would definitely be talking to the director of the event while I was there and saying, I've really heard some great feedback from your vendors already. It sounds like everyone loves participating in your events. If you have any space coming up in your next one, could I be on your invite list? Would that be a possibility? I have a card, I your contact list, and make sure that you leave them a way to contact you and get their contact information.
Sure. And I think that's
did I freeze?
great advice. I mean, we can still hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you. You just froze. It's all right.
You
You'll
there?
catch up. We are. Can you hear us?
Hello? I think I froze. Did
Yeah,
I
you
freeze
did,
or
but
did you?
We heard everything you said.
We heard everything you said. It was great.
Did I freeze like this?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. That was the look.
Say you nailed it.
Okay.
And I think that's great advice, right? Because if it's an event that's bigger, right? I mean, they're doing something right. So
Yeah.
want to
Mhm.
get part of that.
Even with us last night,
Yeah.
we didn't go and pitch, hey, we do a podcast.
Yeah.
Every room we went into, every
Yeah.
person we went up to, hey, what do you do?
What do you do? It's always my first question.
And mind you, we're looking
Yeah.
for content, which is one of the reasons we're like, hey, what do you do?
Yep.
But at the same time, we also
Yeah.
like to know.
And and then I used to make the joke of people are like, oh, I don't know how to open it up, and I was like, you always just start out with how much does a polar bear weigh? Enough to break the ice. Hi, I'm Nick, right? Like, but really, like, it's just, hey, what do you tell me about you? Because most people love to talk about themselves.
Yeah, absolutely they do.
Say.
Yeah.
And so you'll get that, and then at sometimes it will reciprocate. Oh, hey, what do you guys do? Oh, okay, great. This is exactly it.
Mhm.
So.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's see, I'm gonna spitfire a few questions your way. See if we can
Okay.
hit these. All right. How do I go? We actually just asked it. How do I go about attracting business meetups and groups to my restaurant?
Oh, okay. So that's a great question. And I've worked with some coffee shops and restaurants that have done this as well. So
Yep.
you can have after hours meetups, opportunities like that, or I guess I'd wonder if they were doing it during business hours or after business hours. But what I would start, your audience that you currently work with that comes into your restaurant or coffee shop, whatever it may be, if it's restaurant, the audience that comes in every single day is your warmest people. Like, they're already your customers that love you and trust you. I would start with them as your promoters. I would start with probably just having conversations with everyone, putting some little something by the register or behind you, some flyers up if you have a deli case, or some displays for food, put them up in the bathrooms. I would have QR codes on them that people can just scan in a hurry when they're checking out and paying, that learn about our after hours meetup or come visit us for some networking time. They can scan the QR code right there. It takes them right to the event where they can sign up. I would start having people instantly that they know that they're friends with that are going to come. I'd start having them instantly start signing up for the event and then sharing it with their friends. And maybe another great thing to do is offer a giveaway. So have something that they can, like a gift certificate or something that they can offer to say, get registered by this date for the event and to be entered to win this prize. And have some sort of offer there, and then have a door prize, for everyone that shows up in the door. You're also entered here. So have some sort of registration opportunity and have some sort of in the door kind of opportunity for them to all. People love free things, and to get them there, whatever you need to do to get them there is always great. And even if they can if they're part of a chamber of commerce, the chamber will allow them to share it on their website, on the chamber website. So that's any memberships that they're already paying for a subscription for should allow them to share. I would have them put that on their Facebook page, on any social platforms, having them ask. I've encouraged them to have a contest, in order to win this prize or whatever, some sort of thing, like, share, comment on this post, and that way it gets more traction and traffic that way. So I would do some of those kinds of things, utilize the audience that they have first and foremost, and the ones that are like, heck yeah, I'll support you. And just asking their customers, hey, we really want to have this event. Can you share this with as many people as you can? And those kinds of things.
Yep. I think that's huge. Say my next question.
Well,
alright,
can I say one more thing with that one too?
Please do.
Just one more tip with that would be if they did host the event, however many people there are in the room, I would say to get a group photo. And that's one thing I would say for Dawn's event too. If she did it, I don't know if they did that at the end, but even at the beginning, get a group photo before people take off and leave. Because as people see people there, like, we are those kinds of creatures, right? Where we're like, we have this FOMO and we're like, oh, that looked like a fun event. Man, I'm bummed I missed that. That was so cool. I wish I would have known. And then we start to look for it again. So I would share in the events I would be posting very frequently what's happening. Oh, we had so and so many people register. Oh, we're super excited about this. Don't forget to get entered for your giveaway, whatever. And then at the end, make sure they thank everyone for coming, show some after pictures, share their next event, already have a date in mind to do it again.
I think that's absolutely huge.
Yeah,
And
great tips.
this isn't a picking on Dawn thing. This is, I mean,
No.
Well, and again, you don't know what you don't know.
right. And so, like, I'd asked her at the end of yesterday, I was like, hey, when's your next event? I don't know. And I was like, right, because in the time before that, I was like, one of the best advice I can give you is, like, start setting this on a constant, so that way bring consistency. People,
You know a little bit of this because you run the event.
I do. I say, I've run multiple for different groups, and
Perfect.
we have one where it's set every second Monday of the month, no change, right? It's at 6 p.m. every month.
Yeah.
And, I'm part of a magic club, right? And that's every fourth Monday of the month.
So you're saying the first or third Monday of the month.
I say, well, and that's another question I'm going to ask is, do you think that there should be a specific, like, so you're saying, hey, schedule another event. Do you think to pick the same day and time every time? Do you think to change dates? I know of an event, and it's actually, so Dawn was interviewed by these people who host a Thursday morning breakfast, and it's been going for years, and there's 2 or 3 people that show up, and that's all it's ever showed up really for like this long of time. So like, how do I change that? How do I get, so they're doing something wrong in theory. So what is your suggestion on that?
So a couple different things. One, seasons affect when people can come to an event, and then your audience also affects when they can get there. So if you're, in Dawn's case, you guys mentioned it's a lot of women, right? And so are they moms? Do they have kids? They're sporting. Is it, in the fall, there's so many sport things going on that it's really hard to pick those times. And then in the summer, you got kids getting out of school in June. And so I think timing is important to think about what season you're going into to plan your next event, whether it's every month or 3 months. What's the next month coming up? If it's in the winter, you're more likely to be able to do some of those evening and weekends things because people are like, whatever. They don't have all the sports and crazy schedules unless, you're into those kinds of sports and things. But and then if they're parents or if they're business owners, earlier and lunchtime, right? You got to get your early morning before business hours start, and you got to get your lunchtime people. So I think it just depends on those couple things. But I do think also gauging with your audience. So maybe for like the next event that Dawn does, for example, maybe she picks the next time just based on the biggest success she's had. She's had 2. She told me at her first one, she had about 30 participants. I don't know how many she had at this one, but kind of deciding, okay, the first one had 30, this one had this many. What day of the week was this one? What day and time? Picking that. I'm going to do it again on this time for my next one. Let the audience know. But I would also be asking everyone in the room what that time worked, and then everyone that like registered and didn't show up, or that, because she now has an email list, right? She has all these invitations, and however many invitations to people that she sent out that didn't show up, I'd start kind of surveying them too and say, we had a really awesome event. I'd love for you guys to be able to participate next time. I noticed you could make it. I'm bummed that I missed you. I wish you could make it out. What would be a better time for you? So I think you have an opportunity, especially if you're capturing emails, to send out a poll or some sort of follow-up that says, we want to continue to grow and reach more people in the community and make this even bigger. We might need to even expand outside of our four walls to do that. But what are the best times for you guys in the summer? And then, ask maybe again in the fall, because you do have to kind of gear towards your specific audience.
Oh, I agree. And with that, right, you mentioned, hey, we can outgrow these four walls, but that's where networking comes in, because I almost guarantee there's somebody here or somebody that will come in that owns a bigger place than you and doesn't want to do this. They're already just so busy. They can make it for the hour, but they don't have the 3 hours to set up. They don't have the want, the need to get food, to get drink, to do all this. Hey, can we use your space? I'll do the setup. Great. Like, hey, because there's people who would love to be the head of the event who want to share their product but don't have the space, right? So like, find a need, fill a need, right?
Well, I know how much work went into this, because
Correct.
we don't clean the rooms the way they looked last night. Like, there was not glass on the floor.
Right.
Now, when my wife cleans rooms, there's always
Some
glass on the floor.
Yep.
I'm much more meticulous because I have OCD, and she'll yell at me. She's like, hey, we don't have time for that. Just get it dirty clean and we're great.
Yep.
Whereas last night, when you walked into a room, you weren't stepping on glass. Nothing was getting stuck in your shoe. She made sure that it was clean.
Yep. No, and that's,
Yeah. Well, here's the other thing too, real quick to note on that. I think for Dawn, or for anyone listening that is thinking, when is the perfect time? I think you also have to consider, what's the purpose of your event? If you want to get bigger, why? Why do you want to get bigger? Do you want to reach more people? Because I think for Dawn, she has a special niche where she can bring people into a space. But if you go much bigger, do you lose opportunities for people to really have a unique opportunity to connect? Does it get too busy? Do they not get to see her space? Is the goal to like network and grow break room therapy? Or is it just to grow other people's business outside of break room therapy? So I think that has to be assessed for everyone as well. Do you want to stay small, and intimate with people? Or do you want to get really big? And what's that goal look like and why?
And I think that you hit it right on the head, right? And I think that in Dawn's case, she needs to figure out what it's exactly for. Because, hey, if you get to 100 people and there's somebody who is, who has 100 employees or whatever, and they're like, man, we can comfortably fit it. Or they get in there like, hey, we just can't comfortably fit 100 employees in here.
Right.
But then Dawn can go, well, hey, you know what? We do this many blocks and actually have rotations, and you could do it this way. She could sell herself at that point, right? And it's like, hey, you have business owners, and if you're gearing towards come let your business have de-stress, or if you're just, hey, my business is out here, come do it. And exactly what you said. You're good at this. Say it's
oh, thank you.
For a living. So my other question, all right, so this is a personal Nick question. So I go to a bunch of real estate meetups, or I go to meetups. Yeah. And I'm not getting the results I want. What can I do to change that?
Okay, so it's definitely, it could be dependent on something. So when people are not getting the results that they want, first we step back and say, okay, well, what are the results you're hoping for? Obviously, are you hoping to walk out with a bunch of business cards? Are you hoping that you meet one amazing person that you can sit down and have coffee with and collaborate on some cool business ideas with? Like, what's the return on investment should be, I feel like, the first thing that you think about. Not that that's your primary focus, but that when you leave the event, you can say, you know what, mission accomplished. And maybe it's just simple. You start small. I'd like to meet one person that really understands what I'm trying to do. I really understand what they're trying to do. And I walk out of the room like, that was so worth my time. I'm so glad I sacrificed, whatever it is over here for this hour and a half, 2 hours to be there, because that's how I walked out of last night. You know, it was an hour drive for me to get there. It was already the end of my day. And I'm like, you know, I just want to see what this is. I've never seen break room therapy. I want to support Dawn. That was my goal. Support Dawn, see break room therapy so that I can share with 52 Connections for her too. But I walked out with a much broader feeling. And that should be kind of, what do you want to walk away from feeling? I go with that. I want to walk away feeling accomplished, like that was worth my time and value. So if you're not getting those results, then there's a couple of things you need to think about. Are you going in with a pitch? Are you going in to sell? Are you just going in talking about yourself? Are you working the room with a bunch of leads? Because I think there's a very big mindset shift there. If you come into a room and everyone in the room is a lead for you or a potential lead, they're not a connection then. And so I think you need to walk into the room with a connection mindset of, stop calling me a lead. I'm not a lead. I don't want to be called a lead. You don't want to be called. I want to be called a connection. You know, I want, and sometimes, you know, we get into, I don't know if you guys notice this. I've noticed this, and I call people out. Like, I'll be like, hey, I'm over here, because people can be talking to someone and they're looking behind you at the person that's walking past to see if they missed an opportunity while you were talking, or they're reading the name tag, you know?
Yep.
And, I think those are the first things that I would assess is what's your goal for when you leave the room, what's happening in the room. And I often do observations. Like, I'll sometimes, in part of my training, I'll go out with the person kind of arm in arm and take them to a networking event, and I will leave them and just kind of watch and see what's happening. How's your body language? Are you reading other people's body language? When people step away from you with one foot, then they're telling you that they're trying to make an exit.
Yep.
You know, when they lean into you, they're intrigued and they want to learn more. When, you know, when they cross their arms, they're like kind of like unsure. When they're wide open, they're wide open. So it's understanding how to read your room and read the body language of the person that you're talking to too. So I would ask, you know, let's role play some body language. Let's have a conversation, and I want you to show me how you present in a room. Like, what would something be that you talk about and share if we were at a networking event together? And then as you do that, I would kind of say, okay, have you tried, you know, assessing that you do this, or that you're looking left and right, or did you know that you twirl your hair a lot, and that might be a signal of boredom when you're just nervous, you know, things like that. So I think it's taking a step back and looking at what's happening, and if you're in there to fish or if you're in there to make friends, you know. So.
Well, and that's, you know, you make a great point of the friends, right? That's one thing I actually have a struggle with, because I've been going to this for 6 years, and it, you know, I miss one a year kind of a thing. Like, it's a pretty consistent where I end up just going to talk to friends and forget that I'm supposed to be actually networking and going to these new people and introducing myself. And so there's times where it's just like, man, I'm at the end of my day, the same as you. And I almost forget that I'm there, because I'm like, man, I just really want to catch up with this person because we haven't talked in forever. But that's not the time and the place to do it. You know, and then we talked about it. Like, I tend to, and sometimes you have to have somebody that watches you, right? And that's great. Because I had a buddy that was constantly, you know, he'd be like, look, you're just constantly or you're giving advice you're never asking for. And I was like, man, I never even, because it didn't bother me, right? And the funny thing is now that he pointed it out, I get so annoyed because I end up still doing it. And I'm like, man, I'm here for a mission. Dang it, get out of my way. Like, I don't want, it's not that I want to talk to you. It's like, come get me after I'm done with the one task I have to do. I'm so straight focused. Like,
well, I mean,
I got that.
Even with what we do, I mean, you know, we've done some networking things. We've we went to Donut Beer Fest.
Yep.
And when we're there, we want to learn about what everybody else is doing, because we are so money focused that we not only want to share our knowledge of that, but we want to celebrate everyone's successes. So we ask things like, hey, you know, what's your market share look like? What is your most popular brand? What are you doing to, you know, bring in more people? Because those are things we actually care about.
Yep.
And
there it is.
We don't necessarily, you know, know everything, obviously, but we want to learn as much as we can. And that's part of the reason why we do what we do. I mean, we got bored during the pandemic, so we just started getting on Zoom and talking about bullshit.
Yep.
And it just kind of grew into, hey, this is what I know. Like, you sat there going, hey, I know how to buy a house.
Yep.
Let's give you that. TJ and Danny went out and bought a house.
Yeah. So great.
I said, hey, let's take $10,000 and throw it in dividend stocks and see how much we can make. And I took $10,000 from my daughter and threw it in a bunch of dividend stocks, and she made a bunch of money.
Yep.
Right.
So I mean, we look at those things, and it's the only place we are at where we're always trying to help.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter the business, right? There's always something that we can hopefully see from the outside.
Yep.
One of the things I used to share with a lot of people, oh, hey, I did it at Start Garden when Dawn was in, and I'm like, hey, what are you looking for? Oh, funding. And then when you tell people that you're funding, their whole everything changes, and it just becomes not them. And I'm like, all right, I'm out. I can't support you because you're just looking for the easy way out. You're not looking to grind and tell me what you're going to do with my money and what my return. You forgot about me. Like, I literally have the money. Tell me what the hell I'm getting first. Tell me what you're offering me. I'm kind of out, right? Like, and so I stopped telling people that I have money, and then eventually, if we've built a good enough relationship, I'll go, hey, are you looking for a partner? Are you looking to grow? Like, what do you want to grow? What do you want to do? And so I put it in different ways, and I'm like, man, I have 25K. Like, this is what I'm interested in. I want 2 points, 11%, and I want it for 6 months, a year, whatever it is. And they're like, really? Yeah, great. Like, you keep grinding. I'll give you a little bit, but I'm not going to hand you, well, I really need a truck, and if I could just get that. And I'm like, no, you're way out in left field. You're wrong. You're thinking about it completely different. Again, think about it as what can you, at that point, what can you give me? Because you need me more than I need you. There's a million lending deals out there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think you just spoke to two things that I thought about as far as like calling things out, right? And how you do that and being really authentic in that and just saying exactly what it is that you're there for. You had mentioned that you care about those things, right? And so I think when you're having a conversation with people and you're like, because results are different for everybody, what do you want as far as results? If your results are having a good connection and a good feeling, like I mentioned, that's great. If your result is, I need some sales, like I need to bring in some money, and you're terrible at putting yourself out there, right? And asking for a sale or putting your product out there for someone to buy because either you're nervous about how that's going to sound salesy, or you just feel like, you're thinking too much for them and about them that you just forget to say it. I think having a way that you can bring that into the conversation where you care is super important. So when you're having those conversations, you're like, man, I don't want to say like, I have this podcast and I want to do this or want to do that. When they're talking to you and you're listening to them, you can bring what you do really easily into that by saying, you know what, that is really cool that you do that. I love that because I care about this too. And that's why I do this. And that really aligns with my way of thinking too. So I'm really glad that you just said that and that we get to talk about that. So that's a way that you can just kind of bring what you do right into the conversation while acknowledging that you heard them and that you care mutually about what's happening.
I just wrote down the word practice, right? Going to more of these. Your first one's probably not going to be the greatest, right? I mean, and maybe you nail it, but then every time you go, you're supposed to get better. There's times where you have a low, right? Because you've done it for 6 years and you forget sometimes to refocus on it. But pull yourself back and say, hey, what am I here? And it took me another friend, because he's really about like this 20-hour work week type thing. And I had a lot of friends that like, hey, what do you get out of it? And I was like, look, making connections is the biggest part of my bit. It's why I'm successful. Well, I need to find deals, and that's great. And then they went and they were really successful for like a 2-year period. And then they hit this like, boom, And now it's funny because I talk to them and they're like, man, relationship building, that's where you need to be in, whether it's
Yeah.
your bank, whether it's this, whether it's your contractor. And I'm like, I know I tried to explain this to you, right? You asked me what I got of going to this, but it's really just that, because maybe it's that person needs to see that you're constantly making the effort and they're at the same thing as you, right?
So because you're
Yeah.
in houses,
Yeah.
Finance guy,
Okay.
do you always use Rob?
Depending.
But
So my answer is no. Like if
yeah, your answer is no.
right.
You don't always use Rob.
Right.
But you know Rob.
Yep.
And you recommend Rob.
Yep.
You sent me Rob.
Mhm.
We did an episode with Rob.
We did, yeah.
But he's not always going to get the deal for you.
Correct.
But you have that connection. And hey, if I need to bounce something off somebody, even if I'm not going to use him, he's going to give me an honest answer.
Yep.
He's going to tell me what he can do. And that's what it is. You're building that relationship so that, he knows he's not necessarily going to help you on every deal.
Oh, he doesn't help me on any deals, but I still run a crap ton by him.
All the time.
Say,
But he also knows he's going to get referrals from you.
I've made him I bought him a lake house.
Yeah, exactly.
He'll tell you.
Because when somebody goes, hey, Nick,
Mhm.
I need somebody that can help finance this mortgage.
Mhm.
Hey, call Rob Delator.
And it's making those connections is
Mhm.
huge.
I think too that those connections that you have can also be very helpful for you if you're new at networking events. So taking the people that you know and bringing them in arm with you and saying, hey, dude, like, I know you could benefit from this too. How about we do this together? It's sometimes easier to have a partner in crime and just someone that you can bounce if you're extrovert, introvert, whatever, and that they can be like your wingman or wingwoman. And if you fall and you get nervous and you stutter, they can help pick you up the conversation. It's okay to stutter and it's okay to be nervous. That's like a whole training, like be you. But, and I think people view that really well when you are not scripted. But I think having, and even if I tell people, if you're a member of a chamber or some sort of organization, again, use those people because you pay for that. Like, bring them in and say, they have ambassadors. Chambers have ambassadors, and they're supposed to meet you at the door and talk to you and connect you. So call ahead and say, hey, this is my first time coming to this event. Like, those early bird breakfasts or chamber bashes, things like that. This is my first time coming. I'd love for an ambassador to walk me around the room and introduce me to people. And the same thing with any type of event. Say, hey, you might know more people. Can you come around and we can introduce people to introduce people? Like, it just takes a little bit of the edge off sometimes.
Yeah, and that's a great advice. I
Mm.
do that with quite a few. So one of the big things I've done now is when new people come up to me because they're like, oh, hey, how do you get to retired life? And I'm like, you're not there. Like, here's what I'm going to tell you, right? Go talk. This person's a wholesaler. This person's a contractor. This person's a plumber.
Yeah.
You're going to need to meet all those people before I can walk you through any part of what you want to get to, right?
Right.
I love your end goal, but here's what I'm going to tell you. I did. I literally met all of these people and then it all came together at once. Oh,
Yeah.
and sometimes it makes sense. Or sometimes they're like, no, I just want to know the end result. And I'm like, you can know the end result, but it doesn't change your life, right?
Right.
And sometimes people just don't, they don't process that and take a step back and go, I really
Yeah.
should listen to that advice. So,
Yes. Yeah.
but now you had mentioned having giveaways. I really enjoy that idea of
Mhm.
getting it out there.
Yeah.
One thing I'm horrible at, we talked about, I'm horrible at technology because I don't want to be good at it, right? Like,
Yeah.
I know enough to turn my phone on and drop it into a pool, but say otherwise. Now, so do you have advice for people that aren't good at the technology side, but would love to host an event?
Yeah. So, I mean, think back to old school, how people used to do it. And that's really how the best relationships are built these days. They're not built on social media, even though we utilize those platforms for social media. What the real meat of relationships happen person to person.
Yep.
So I encourage people, go old school and pound the pavement, like go around your community. Everyone can put a flyer together, right? And if you can't, you probably know someone or someone knows someone that can help you put a simple flyer together. and have them printed off at the local library or at home and take them physically into your community, hang them up at libraries, ask your local restaurants or coffee shops if you can put one up on their, most places have a cork board for business cards and flyers, ask them to put them up out there. Talk to your friends and family, ask them to share the event, have that contest, you know, and you can get a lot of engagement through social media without being tech savvy by having other people do the work for you.
Yeah.
So, you know, all you have to do is like, comment, and share, and you'll be entered for this like big giveaway. And then all these people are building your engagement and things for you at that point. You know, email messaging can go either way. It can be simple or it can be difficult for people. So if you know, if you're good at emails and if you have some emails, I would do a mass message for emails. But if you're not, don't even worry about it. Some people don't read them and it's hit or miss. I think if you go in, and this is how I've done a lot of event planning and reached a lot of people, is if you just go in the front door, introduce yourself and say, hey, I'm putting on this event. This is why I'm putting it on, why I feel it's important. I'd love for you guys to be able to participate and be a part of it with me. Would I be able to at least put up a flyer in your window or, you know, share a little bit more about it with you, get people talking about it?
And so I know we kind of jumped on a little bit. I don't know if I got the direct answer. Do you think that it should be stuck to the exact same time, the exact same day?
Yeah. I mean, again, I think that depends on, you know, your target market. I think if it's business owners and you need to get to them early in the morning, I think you should be consistent in the morning and the lunchtime so that they can plan their schedules. Because again, you're trying to get them to interrupt their work schedule to be a part of this too, potentially depending on their work. But and that also can apply for moms, you know, that are home, like doing homeschool and things like that. If you're working with a lot of women, they might, if they're at home working, they need to work around their schedule to be able to do that. So I do like consistency.
Yep.
I do. But also being aware that your consistency might be for 3 months, you know, consistent for 3 months. And when that change of season comes, if things interfere seasonally, you might have to shift that around or gauge it by just asking the group. So, but I think people like consistency and being able to plan ahead.
Yeah. And you know, what I found when I started ours, you know, the few is doing consistency and doing exactly what you said. Hey, what did I have for engagement? When did it happen?
Yeah.
Are people willing to come out at this day and this time?
Yeah.
Well, all right. Hey, they can do one-offs because they're like, hey, and so we get a random group. And then there's times where we'll switch it from a Thursday to a Wednesday. And, you know, we listen to it. And one of the biggest things I do is just listen to people. Oh man, you know, it'd be so much easier if you did one on the northeast side. Well, do you know a place? I'll host it over there. Hey, do you know, great. If not, we'll, you know, because I have one that's consistent at the exact same spot, the exact same time. I have one that we bounce from different breweries or restaurants and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Great. If you know of a place, man, we're always more than willing because I want to make that connection as well. I'll walk up and say, this is what we do. We bring 100 people and here we go.
Yeah. Well, another thing I just thought of too, as you were talking with people that are putting a vendor event together, again, having people do the work for you goes a really big, long way. So if you're going to just host an event with participants coming in, you know, it can be a little trickier to get people to attend for a workshop versus if it's a vendor event, you've also got all your vendors. Mm-hmm. So if you're looking at having a vendor event, mapping out how many vendors you're going to have and coming up with maybe a vendor fee, depending if you're renting out a hall or something and you need to pay for that, having a vendor fee, but then also offering a discount, like, you know, 5% or 10% off your booth fee if you share this event out on your social media platforms by this date, and really get that push going so that you can see it circulating.
I don't want to call the person out, but I think what you said there was a huge key, because it's really hard sometimes to ask people for money because you're scared that you won't get vendors. But one thing we noticed last night was there happened to be a room that nobody was in. Why? Because that person didn't actually commit to their spot because they had nothing, they had no skin in the game. That's what I tell them. You always have to have somebody to have skin in the game, right? I don't care if you charge these vendors $5
Yes,
for their table, right? Like,
I
hey,
agree.
commit to me because you're out nothing except for now they think about, man, I want to get my $5 worth or my $10 worth. Even
Right.
if you handed them, even if your vendor, like for Dawn, for an example, even if, and what I'm a huge fan of, and one thing I think I'll give her free advice. So let me keep going with my first thought, but like the $10, right? Every vendor should be able to take that $10 and get a gift card for it if that's what you want to do. Don't tell them they're getting it type thing, but here's your money back if that's what you feel you're going to do. But one thing I
Yeah.
think Dawn needs to do is everybody that attends these things, they should be getting some type of a card in their hand. Thank you so much for attending the event. Here's
Mhm.
5, 10, whatever percentage off
Right.
for break room therapy. Now you've given them a business card, you've given them a
Mhm.
reason to come back.
Yes.
That's not a networking
Yes.
event. And so because as the business, you hope you lose money. In theory,
Yep.
you lose money, right? She got nothing out of it. She bought all the food, drinks,
Yeah.
and so
No.
here I need to recoup that. But
Yeah.
if that's not what your want is, but you're hosting it for a reason, figure out what that reason is. But really, everybody should walk out, and you should make it as a celebration or
Yeah.
celebration thing, right? Like, hey, everybody, you get 10% off just for being here. Woo! Thanks so much.
Right.
Like,
Yep.
and to me,
Exactly.
that's
I love
absolutely
it.
huge.
Yes.
Um,
100% she should be doing that.
Yep.
I agree. It's her time. It's the time. It's I mean, even if she had sponsors, she could get a sponsor. One of those vendors could sponsor the drinks, one of them could sponsor the food, one of them could sponsor, a gift certificate, a prize, whatever. But having them commit to something is huge.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Well, and I say if you took all 5 vendors that she has or whatever, hey, $10, we're giving away a $50 gift. Your booth is going towards a gift card, so I'm not officially
Yep.
making money off you, but we're
Yep.
giving that one gift card away
Mhm.
to a person that shows up. And
Yep.
I think that's absolutely, to me, it's one thing that we do when we go to all these like random places
Yeah.
is hey, we're gonna bring in people that are gonna eat and drink. You're gonna get this great, and then hey, yep, we're giving you a gift card
Yep.
just for bringing the I have a mug club at one of my places because I brought in a huge, they're like, you're covered, you're a mug club member for life, and I was like, great.
Yeah.
So
That's
it wasn't
great.
expected, but I made off that deal.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
you're not going to turn it down.
Never. So I love that place. But
That's great.
yeah, and so I think and that goes with everybody. So we talked about the bookkeeper, right? If you offer a thing, have a promo while you're there. Hey, for
Yep.
attending this event, you get 10% off my
Yep.
services for the first little bit. You get a free consultation. I don't give a shit what it is. Again, you said people love
Right.
free. People love
Yes.
free,
They do.
right?
I love free.
Right. So
Yeah.
great.
Would it hurt her or would it hurt someone else? If you did a buy one, get one, come to this event and then your friend, next time you come, it's a buy one, get one deal or something. Is that, think of something that's not going to hurt you to lose out on. And also again, getting a new person exposed to break room therapy too, or wherever it is, like
Yep.
to get more people in the door.
Yeah. And I think that's, because when you look at like a restaurant, right? They talk about it. Hey, so John Taffer actually does a great talk about it. He says, when the person comes up, manager will go to the table. Hey, is this your first time joining us? The answer is yes. Right. I'm handing them a 50% off, or their napkins are going to be a different color. I'm handing them a 50% off thing for them to come back and try it again. The next one, I have it. Hey, you handed me this 50% off right away. I now know you're here. Hey, come back. You got to try the dessert, or you have to have an appetizer. These are the 2 greatest things. I'm going to give it to you for free. Come back and join me again. Because now you've made 2
Mhm.
connections. The 3rd time they're hooked, right? To
Yeah.
get them to come back 3 times is absolutely. So I've learned so much from that. It's like, hey, this you have to give, and you're going to receive like crazy
Yes.
from it.
Do not ask for anything until you've made deposits from someone, right? Like, I think that's just such a big piece. Like, people, the biggest reason we feel uncomfortable asking for something is because we probably haven't made some sort of deposit. And it doesn't have to be a money deposit. It doesn't have to be a physical. There's emotional deposits, there's spiritual deposits, there's just connecting gift deposits, there's any kind of like something, a little nugget knowledge deposit. If you give someone a deposit, you're much likely more to get a withdrawal. When you ask for a withdrawal, they're going to be like, oh yeah, you need help, or you need something, you need me to volunteer. So with Dawn just doing like that, there's a big deposit for everyone in that room that she just gave a huge deposit for. It would be no issue for her to ask, hey, are you good with like, paying $10 with this next one? Like, I need to cover my food and beverages, and I need your skin in the game, because I really need everyone to show up for all the people in the room that are showing up to meet you. So.
Yep. And I think that's, I mean, she had a tip box out, which
I think that was for door prize.
no, it was for the person that brought the salads or whatever, right?
Okay.
She can tell you the whole details. I don't want to get into what I seen and what I heard. It doesn't, but like,
oh, okay.
I will tell you that, the box is black. It's kind of tucked to the side. Yeah, there's a little, but like, hey, actually ask for it.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah.
People will, and at the end of the night, I reached in my pocket and I had a few bucks, and I was like, oh yeah, here, I completely forgot to throw in. And, I always intend to try to give, because I want to see this grow.
Yeah.
Like, so, all right. Now, last night we talked about some of the positives. We did just name off a couple of the things that she could work on. What do you find to be the biggest pitfall of an event? Not just last night, but like any event in general.
I mean, that there's a few things. I think one of the things for me is when I walk in and talk to a vendor, someone at a booth, if they just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and never listen, I think that's a kind of a turn off. I think if you can tell that someone is not in it for other people, that's a turn off. I think one thing that can be done poorly is not acclimating your participants to the space. And I think Dawn did that well. I mean, I always tell people, tell me where things are when I walk into your home, if I'm a guest there and I'm visiting, and that's her space, and so she's inviting people in. But like one of the first things that she did was showed me where the bathrooms are. And that's such a warm thing to do, because it's telling people that she's inviting them into her home. Like, this is like my space, it's now your space too. And so like little things like that, when people don't do that and they don't do a good job of acclimating to the environment, I think you have people that walk around like lost puppies or sheep. They just really just kind of wander and feel awkward. I think one of the things that, and with acclimating, letting people know what to expect when they come in, like, this is a networking event. I'm going to have vendors here. They've all been instructed that this is not just for them. This is for both of you. So they should be having conversations with you as well. There's going to be food. There's going to be drink. I'll give you a tour. Like, just kind of let people know the communication. If there's a lack of communication leading up to, about, and after, I think that can be a pitfall. Like you said, having a way for her to follow up and offer the 10% off or something is great. If I never knew Dawn and never heard from her again, or even like, any kind of follow-up, and I left with such a great feeling, I'd kind of feel like let down, like, well, I was just there because I was there. But to know that I was there and appreciated for being there, I think is important for people. And are great ways, again, to like build that long-term relationship where people are going to want to come back. I think if it's really handy, like Dawn knows everyone in the room. So if you have someone that knows the people, or if you, the person that's putting it together, you've communicated, you've talked with, you've gotten connections with all the vendors, I think it's really key to position yourself to be available to people. I have seen it where the directors or people that put on the event just have their own table, or stick with one portion, or find their own job, and they're so distracted where they could have such a great opportunity connecting and like, hey, Sarah, this is so-and-so, and this is so-and-so, and this is Lisa, and you should, gold to be able to like know that Dawn's going to introduce me to everyone she knows because I know nobody.
Yep.
So I think that could be a huge missed opportunity. I think if you go in with an expectation that's unrealistic, then that's a missed opportunity for you to really connect and build something cool and just walk out there with something you never imagined to experience. If you go in there only to hand out business cards, I've seen that too. I've seen people just have a stack of cards in their hands, like I did the dealing them out. I think that is horrible.
I say, depending on how you do it. So, right, I had my stickers in my hand.
Oh, you didn't do it that way though.
No,
Yeah.
I don't. And the only reason I don't necessarily keep them in my pocket, I sweat like crazy. And
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
want to. I don't want to
They'd
hand
stick.
them wet, soggy something. So like, I kind of keep them out so that way they're at least I'm handing you
Yeah.
something dry. They say David seen me pull out some stickers. I don't even know where the heck they went.
Well, stickers are a little different too than business
Yes.
cards.
Well, but still, like my
Yes.
business cards, like again, I pulled these out and like look at them. If I pulled these out, like they're all just wavy and stuff, and so I want to hand you a fresh, crisp business card.
Yeah.
Like I want, I mean, there's people that do studies and you have to get this millimeter of. Anyway, I specifically don't, or I put it in my wallet and then have to pull my wallet out every time and
Yeah.
pull out one business card and go here.
I
No.
don't bring business cards to an event on purpose anymore. So that I have to give them my contact information, like, just let me get your number and then put it's right in the phone, because otherwise the business cards get thrown away.
Of course. Oh, I know they do. Right. I mean, or they
Yeah.
get or if you're a hoarder like me, there's a stack on your bookshelf.
And how many times do you look at those and go, who is this person again?
Say,
Yeah.
well, that's that's exactly. I didn't even know. I realized I met these people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do. Dawn is fantastic at welcoming. Right.
Yes.
She rushes when the door rings. Hey, there's drinks. This is where we do this.
You and I
You
were
walk-
sitting up there.
Yeah.
And like one poor lady came in
That's it.
and we're sitting there bitching about coaching.
Yeah.
And Dawn had just taken somebody to the back. So she's sitting up there with us for 45 seconds.
Yeah.
And then all three of us start bitching about coaching.
Let's see.
And Dawn comes up and she's like, what the hell did I walk into?
Yeah.
But it was only 45 seconds of her waiting.
Yep. But it's and she got entertained by, and then we ended up
Yeah.
talking to her. But no, she does. She's very welcoming in that sense of things.
Yeah.
And we, you had mentioned, hey, directors, they set themselves into a spot, and I've seen it where they don't know how to exit, right, as a director.
Mhm.
So they're in this
Mhm.
conversation. It's like there's people that are there to meet you because you put it on, and they're like, hey, I want to do this. So you have to learn how to get
Yeah.
yourself out of these situations and say, hey, I have
Right.
to go. I have to go to the. It's not that I'll love your contact. Let's connect. Let's do this. I'm really big
I
on person to
agree.
person. I do
Yeah.
a lot of lunches.
Yeah.
So, and
I will tell you too that one of the biggest mistakes that I see it with vendors is that they position themselves behind their table.
Yep.
Yeah. Push your table back and stand to the side or in front of it so that you can be the introduction. There's nothing in between, because if you're putting something in between you, it's just you're guarding off. Like,
and to me, it's very different. Dawn, to describe our networking event last night, there's 5 rooms. They have doors that you actually have to walk into.
yeah.
So not just that, like, they have a picture window, but you have to get enticed to get in there, right?
Yes.
We did a table at Comic-Con, and how many people walked by? A bunch. But the amount of people, when you just say hello,
yeah.
they'll, like, as long as you're taking that first, hey, how's it going? They walk up because now you're friendly, right? Now
Yes.
you're inviting. Hey, come on in. Hey, come here real quick. Hey, let me
Yeah.
show you what I got. All you have to do is make that connection in some way. Otherwise, people
Yeah.
just, because they'll just look and go, and I do it at craft fairs all the time. And 90% of the time will buy from your booth if you just said hi to me. If you show me some type of intent, like, all you have to do, but like, if I walk through and you don't say a word to me, there's a huge potential that even if I like your stuff, I'm just like, you're just here because you want to sell me on it, right?
Yeah.
Unless it's something I absolutely love. That takes me 4 months to get you your dish towels.
Yeah. My Yoda dish towel.
Yeah.
Well,
But
and with the space in that room, you're right. You had to walk in a door and then
Mhm.
you have just a narrow space. And if there's someone else already talking, I would walk past the room because I'm like, well, there's no space. I'd have to like kind of interrupt the conversation to get through. With you guys, I like covered in the corner there and just
Mhm.
kind of hung out. But like not everybody would do that. And I think if you push your table back, it makes the whole space open and inviting, saying, come on in. Like there's room for everyone in here. Like
and and you know, one thing, you, as you said, you walked in and tucked yourself into the side, but if you notice,
Yeah.
like, one thing I know about me is I'm a big dude. So when I go in, I don't block the entrance. I try
Right.
really hard to get myself to the side. I want everybody to be able to see, and I want other people to feel welcome to come in.
Yeah.
Because I know I'm an intimidating guy. It's not that I want to be. I'm actually pretty decent to talk to once in a blue moon.
Once in a
I
while.
piss people off all the time.
Right.
That is you know, and in my head, that like, and that's what people don't understand. It's like, that's how my brain works. My brain constantly
Yeah.
thinks about, where am I positioning myself? How am I doing this? What am I doing? You know, one thing most
Yes.
people don't know about me, I absolutely hate eating in front of people. Right?
Okay.
It's a weird thing. So like, I'll eat in front of David because I've known him for way too long, and
Yeah.
we laugh about the amount of cupcake that falls in my beard. But
We did do that last night.
right, like, the first thing I did was put my pop into room 1 because nobody was in there.
Yep.
I grabbed my chicken, and David's like, I gotta find a place to sit down. And I was like, great, you and me are up front, dude. We're mounted. I
Yep.
don't want, it's just a thing that's for me. But I'm very socially always aware of what my surroundings going on, who's
Yeah.
where, how they're gonna be, where I need to be. Am I not blocking anybody? Because I don't want anybody to feel uncomfortable
Yeah.
having to get around, kind of a thing. So
Yeah. And speaking to that is don't be on your phone, right?
oh
Like
my goodness.
put your phone down, put it away, because even if you're empty space and people are not in your room, they will see you on your phone and just walk right by because you're busy. So
You know, and I want to give another quick advice to people, if I can. Know your business.
Yeah.
Know where you're
Mhm.
at, know what you're doing. Because, you know, we talked about before coming on air, there's not a single thing I'm going to ask you that you're not going to know.
Mhm.
And if there is, like, you should probably work on that. You know, like,
Mhm.
you know, I asked a few questions to people last night. Where are you at? What do you want to do? Well, I kind of want to, I this. No. Like, what do you,
Yeah.
this is what I do. This is where
Yeah.
I'm at. This is where I want to get to, right? Like, these need to be known, right? What, because I can't know how to help you. And the problem is there's people like me who want to help you. I can't help
Yeah.
you if you don't know what you need help with, right? So if you tell me, hey,
Absolutely.
I'm here, I'm stuck, great. Have you thought? And I'll run a million ideas, but like, oh, you know, well, and my kid's still in school, so you know, next year I'll take care of this. So you're just hobbying for now.
Yeah.
You're not a business, you're a hobby, right? It's a totally different thing.
Well, you
So-
know, Dawn was cleaning floors today.
Yep.
And I'm at practice. I'm talking to my catcher because she works for us. And I said, yeah, you should have saw the first space we had. We thought it was great. And I told her how the floors were, you know, it was the carpet squares that were flipped upside down, and she had duct tape on them to keep them down, and the glass would get underneath and it just tore everything up, and it was just a huge freaking mess.
Yeah.
And I capped it with, you know, we didn't know what we didn't know.
Mhm.
You know, it was the
Right.
first time trying to do it. We have no idea what we're doing. It's all trial and error.
Yep.
And the first 2 years, that's what it was. Hey, this works, this doesn't.
Mhm.
So that when she went and built this location, she knew, hey, I need a different type of floor. This floor does not work.
Yep.
So she got those, you know, interlocking gym floors. Great. Rooms need to be bigger. I need this, I need that, whatever it was.
Yep.
Because when you walk into something and you've never done it before, you're going to make a lot of mistakes.
Oh, heck yeah.
And there's nothing
Yes.
wrong with that. You learn a lot from your mistakes.
You do.
And then you figure out how to do it better the next time. Somebody said that yesterday. They're like, yeah, I used to be afraid of doing things. And then I'm like, screw it. If I'm afraid, I'm just going to do it right now.
Yep.
And I know when I'm doing it right now, I'm going to screw up. And that's fine, because the next time I'll do a little bit better.
That's right.
I say the only time you fail is when you fail to learn,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
You know, it's
Fail
like
forward, yeah.
some might cost you some money, but you'll learn.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so now you don't show up with business cards because you want instant, and that's, you know, when I first went to meetups, I didn't have business cards because I didn't know people did this thing. And then,
Yeah.
you know, after the first however many, people were like, oh, I need this information. And I was like, I'll just go get some business cards made up.
Yeah.
And it does okay when you present them right and you make that real connection with like, hey, this is how you can. And now I barely carry them, and I carry them at certain functions because it's like, hey, I know it's only going to be a random here and there. But otherwise, I'm just like you. I want it in my
Yeah.
phone. I'm texting you right then. Hey, Jeremy, this is Nick. It was awesome to meet you. And I
Yeah.
actually usually I say it out loud while I'm texting it to them, and I go, "You're going to read the exact same thing I just read," and they're like,
Yeah.
"Ha." And I know they get home and they go, "Damn, I remember him saying that." Right? But it's like, to me, it's a great thing because now they've laughed because he goes, "Dang, he really did say the exact same thing."
Yes. Well, and what you did there too is that you didn't just wait for someone to take the opportunity to get back to you. You took control and you said, you know what, I'm gonna be the one that initiates this to make sure that this connection happens, to make sure that this follow-up does what I said. I'm gonna say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna follow through, right? And so if you just hand someone a business card, you are at the mercy of what they're going to do next. And they may or may not follow up with you. And so I just like, hey, let me just like take this a step forward and just exchange your information this way. That way I know I have your information too. And then I can follow up with you as well, just in case life gets in the way or we get busy and we forget after this event. We go to bed and we're like, oh, that was really great. What did I do?
Yeah.
You know, how many drinks or what? No.
No,
So,
Well, I mean,
that happens.
how many people's names did you remember this morning?
yeah.
None.
Right.
None. I mean, and that's I tell you all the time.
I remembered Sarah's because
Yeah.
when it came through on my phone, it
I
said
know,
Sarah.
like David.
Well, it's like,
Yeah.
and Dawn had tagged it, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Yep, now I
Yeah,
know who's
you
coming."
put that, and Dawn's like, "Hey, it's with Sarah," and we're like, "Cool."
I know, I just saw that. That's awesome.
Yeah, and to me, I don't know. It I'm really good with names,
Mhm.
right? If it's something that is important, Sarah, it's not that you're not important. It's again, Bucks and Brews is my hobby. It's not my main priority and focus.
Yeah, we're
Right.
not making a bunch of money here.
Now,
So.
now that we've met and we talked, I'll probably never forget your name, right? And every time I see
Right.
you, hey Sarah, there it is. But like again, David's my first connection. I'm going to remember it every time after that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, and because what we did wasn't in the business, and then really what you kind of did was like, hey Nick, are you interested in going this way?
Yeah.
And to me, it's like your lead on this one. If she follows up, then I'll know who it is. But really, that's kind of how I
Yeah.
look at things. It's
Yeah.
like, hey, again, she wants something, or and granted, I really enjoy. Why don't we change topics a little bit? So, the 52 for 52. Why don't you tell us about that? And then also, I don't know if it's out and you're talking about it. Tell us about your other thing. I won't say the numbers, but if it's not out, that's fine.
Yeah. That's not out yet, but that's
Okay.
coming. So I actually it was funny because when I was telling Dawn about it, April Moore, I always say her last name wrong, but she was there with the CBD. She was like, should we pinky swear on this? But it is something that I definitely want to pursue with you guys as I grow into this. But 52 Connections in 52 Weeks is a resource guide that has 52 different industry and organizational leaders within it that represent different companies and that are all warm connections for people that are looking to grow their business, whether they're an entrepreneur or a nonprofit. So I thought of this. I was actually writing a book pre-COVID. It was 52 Connections in 52 Weeks, and it was going to be a workbook. And I was interviewing different industries and organizations on the benefits of networking and connecting for their particular company and what that looked like for them. Then COVID happened and none of us were sitting across from the table anymore. And I was like, I probably need to figure out how I'm going to do this different. And so I thought about doing it as a guide where people could meet virtually as they could for that time being. And then when we got back to meeting in person, they could do it that way. But everyone that I talked to, and I said, hey, do you want to be a part of a resource guide where people that are out there trying to connect would have this book and you'd be in it and they can connect with you anytime they want to learn more about your industry with a goal of you learning about them too. And with another goal of getting this done in 52 weeks, like one new lead connection network a week. Everyone was 100% yeah. Like, why wouldn't I want to do that? Right. Yep. And so this is now the second year that I've done it, going into the third. I'm already working on the publishment for 2023. I have people that are committed and I'm going to go beyond 52 Dawn is in the book. She represents break room therapy. So she is one of the 52 connections. And so it's up to the people in the book. You know, I don't sit there and babysit over them and say, who's your connection this week? You better be meeting with someone. The goal for them is to take the initiative and say, you know what, I have this resource in my hands. I'm representing my industry. I'm going to go meet with some cool people that said yes to a warm connection too. And it's simple. You just send an email, send a text, send a phone call, whatever, and say, hey, I'm part of 52 Connections. I'd love to meet with you. And the answer is always yes. So let's connect. So
Yeah.
it takes the nervousness, I think, off of cold calls and, you know, things like that, where you know that you have, you know, I try to explain it like if you walked into a new school and you walk into the lunchroom and you don't know where to sit and you're looking around and like 52 hands shoot up in the air and it's like, right here,
Yeah.
bro, like come sit here. So 52 people in your corner is what it is. So
No, that's great. And I
Yeah.
say, I think it's gonna, I'd like to see the results from year 1 and 2 and see how the people have commented. So I think you should put out a book on if it's working and what you've
Ooh.
gotten out of it. I tell that
Kind of like Dawn's board, like how did you
Yeah.
feel before,
before and
52
after.
Connections? How did you
Yeah.
feel after? Yes.
right.
What she
And-
did there is inspiring for sure.
Yeah, I think it's great. And then where can people find your book? Is it an ebook? Is it a paperback, a hardcover?
It's a digital book, and so it can be printed right off your computer, or it can be worked on digitally on your computer. You can find it on my website at trueselfbrm.com. And you go there, right on the front of the screen, there's a button you click that says 52 new connections today. Pop that link and it leads you right to the page where you can purchase it and put it in your car. It's $52 for 52 connections. So
Perfect. And
Yeah.
I mean, does it have like questions and kind of how's it laid out, or is it just like, hey, this is a business name, this is a phone number?
Great question. So yeah, everyone has a little bio picture, like they have a headshot in there, and then all their social links that they wanted to put in. So their website, maybe their Facebook or their LinkedIn. It also has their email, their phone number, and a little tagline to describe what they do at the bottom. And then there's also extra connections, ideas in the back of it. So if, let's say, you know, like 5 people in the book and you're like, man, I know these people, I could reconnect with them, but I just saw them yesterday at church or whatever, and I just caught up with them then. I need there's ideas for additional ways to connect in your community with other people outside of the book if you need additional people. And then there's a kind of a workbook area where you write about, you know, what week you're in, who you connected with, and what your experience was. Because I know it's hard when you connect with a lot of people to remember everyone at the end of the year, who you connected with. And I've been in that space where I've been like, crap, I know that person was really great. I wanted to follow up with that person, and now I cannot remember where I connected with them. And so my hope is to have a space where you can document that and go back to it and follow up.
Sure. Control F. That's what
You know how to do that.
Yep. I can't do it on my phone, so it's not happening.
Yeah.
So now you have a business that you've taken. Now, what's the largest group that you're getting events for, if you don't mind sharing that?
The largest group that I get events for?
Yeah, so you're
So-
hosting for a big event.
I don't host a lot of big events anymore. So what I do is I train vendors for their events. So I actually, if someone is going to be a part of an event, or if they're hosting an event, I can come in and I can train the vendors and do like a little mini, like 30-minute, 1-hour workshop on how to have the best results as a vendor, or how to have your best results with this event. So I train people, and that covers everything from, you know, what the goals are, what core emotions and feelings you want to attract with your customers walking through, to what your table setup should look like, to your body language. We go into psychology of that, to how to make it ask, like how to actually put it out there of what you're looking to do and what you're looking to accomplish. And then it goes into follow-up things from there. So it kind of takes from the start to the full circle of how to be successful after.
Sure. Let's say, and So you're doing it all the way from helping host this big thing, getting it all together,
Yes.
all the way
Yeah.
down to just one table with one
Yeah.
or one person with a table to teach them how to actually market themselves and or
Yes.
network and stuff like that. Okay, so
Yeah, I train teams. People have me come, realtors, even massage therapists, chiropractors. They have me come in and train their teams. If they're doing event marketing, then there's someone that I would work with. Any type of, I also do like lunch and learn training and B2B marketing training, where I actually just come in and talk with the team and say, here's some great ways to do this. As a consultant, it's more like a direct, like you guys mentioned before, like sometimes with coaching, you can kind of get to like, how does this make you feel? And what do you think about that? Whereas a consultant, I come in and say, have you tried this? Because I really think if you shift this way, you'd have a really great result versus here. So I take a more of a direct approach on like what I've been able to see happen, watch success and watch fail, and take that and show clients.
sure. Sarah, say thank you so much for joining. Is there anything that we didn't hit on that you'd love to hit on?
Oh gosh. I think for anyone that is like going to be part of an event, I think that one of the most important things that you can think about is the, you know, as a vendor, the experience that you're sharing with people. And I think that, you know, for me, it's core values, but there's also core emotions. And I think that when you're going into an event, really having a clear idea of the experience that you want to leave your participants with. And if you're planning an event, what is that experience you want people to walk away with? It doesn't just help with the whole overall, because I think it really starts with emotion. So, you know, finding a problem that people are having and that the solution that you're helping them solve is really, I think, where you connect with people first. And that emotion where they can like say, oh, I understand that. Like, that is my problem. That hits home for me. And you can be a part of that solution. There are like 8 phases that every single customer, vendor, participant, client, donor, anything they are going to go through from start to finish. And it starts with that assess phase, moves to the admit phase, becomes the affirm phase where you have to get them to buy something, moves into an accomplished phase, an acclimating phase, an adopt phase where they become an advocate for you. Taking a person on a journey from like start of you really just connected with a core emotion for that person and created an experience for them so far to the point that they become an advocate for you later on that you didn't even see starting over here. That's where that magic happens. So thinking about how you take someone on that journey from where they see you to where they are like out there advocating for you for free and sharing everything about you, sharing your future events, sharing anything that you need to sell or, you know, helping your business grow, being a referral source, and just, or having you on a podcast from one step to the next can happen overnight, right? Or it can take a while, right? So I think just kind of thinking outside the box when you go into any event or connection space of like, there's going to be an experience that you have no idea of what could come from it yet. And you just have to be open to those possibilities. And I think that you'll be successful that way.
I fully agree.
Right?
Can agree anymore. Say, and we always finish this up with the same way we start, right? Like, subscribe, share, tell your friends, tell your family, because that's what we're doing. We're networking. We're trying to throw ourselves out there. So the more you do that for us, the happier we are.
Absolutely.
So
yes.
Say, and Sarah, one more time, if you wouldn't mind telling people how they can connect with you, how they can find you, that'd be great.
Yeah, the best place would be on my website at trueselfbrm.com. And then I also have True Self Consulting on Facebook. I'm on Instagram the same way. So, and LinkedIn. So
Perfect.
Thank you so much for joining us, Sarah. We had a great time last night and
thank
tonight.
you
Yeah,
guys.
What are
You
doing
guys
tomorrow?
are fun.
Don't be surprised if we ask you back at some point, because we do that quite a bit.
We do.
Oh, that would be awesome. I would be honored. You guys
All
are
right,
a hoot.
You hang out for a minute. We're gonna cut recording
Okay.
here in a second. Thanks again
Okay.
for joining us, everyone. We should
Be here
back
next week. Yeah.
All right, good. So we'll join everybody next week, and thanks for joining.
dialed in.
To Box and Brews, you might hear something
You can use.
like tips on your cash or tips on the suds.
You're gonna want to
The
use.
smarts of these studs.
Cause they know the
And
brews.
they know the box, and they know they can't help the stubborn fucks.
So listen up, cause shit's not funny.
Save yourself some
Beer money. Bucks.
and brews.
Bucks and
Bucks
brews.
and brews.
Bucks and brews.